The eldest princess is arrogant and extravagant, the second princess is unrestrained and unconventional, the third princess is a refined scoundrel, and I am the fourth princess, hooked by the hostage prince of the enemy country. I've been relentlessly chasing after him for 7 years. Still nursing a one-sided love to this day, my 3 elder sisters are exasperated at my hopelessness, almost taking matters into their own hands to coach me. A strong dose of medicine, first do the deed. Then take responsibility. The boat will straighten when it reaches the bridge, understand. Withstanding the pressure, I looked up at the sky, feeling like crying but having no tears left. I've tried. And then what? He's wearing iron underpants, and there's a lock on them that can't be opened. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful stories every day. Now the story begins. Iron what? Underpants. The Empress was drinking tea and nearly spat it out. The eldest and second sisters looked at each other. The third sister tried hard to hold back her laughter, while I remained with a worried expression. He said he was prepared long ago, would rather die than yield, and if even his iron underpants couldn't stop me, he'd go and bash his head to death. What should I do? Second sister patted my shoulder, looking at me with pity. Xiao Wang is quite handsome. It's truly a shame to see but not be able to have. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Little fourth sister, my backyard is full of handsome men, why not pick a few to have some fun with? I guarantee you'll forget that guy completely within 3 days. Eldest sister chimed in with a smile. That sounds like a good idea. Third sister rested her chin in her hand, deep in thought. I've read in stories that when the protagonist can't have the one they love, they find a substitute. The territory of the Great Xia Kingdom is vast. It shouldn't be hard to find someone who looks just like Xiao Wang. I stubbornly shook my head. Xiao Wang, he is different. Those more handsome than him, or those who resemble him, are all unworthy in my eyes. Ever since that fleeting glimpse 7 years ago, it was as if I had been bewitched. My eyes could only see him, and no one else. The Empress wiped the corner of her mouth, her expression twitching slightly. I never expected that among my daughters, there would be one so deeply devoted to love. In this dynasty, women hold the power. Thus, after my eldest, second, and third sisters married and established their careers, aside from their principal and secondary husbands, they all kept some male consorts. This is their right, a broad and smooth path that the Empress fought for through mountains of corpses and seas of blood in her time. Yet there are some stubborn pedants who cannot accept it. Wielding their pens to criticize, what is perfectly normal for men is deemed wanton and frivolous when applied to women, and I, because of my infatuation with Xiao Wang, have remained unmarried to this day, thus escaping such a fate. When I pursued your father back in the day, he was also extremely reluctant. The Empress leaned back on the dragon throne, her chin resting on her hand, filled with deep emotion. What happened next? Did it work? If it hadn't worked, how would the 4 of you have come to be? My eyes lit up, and with a face full of admiration, I pressed further. Father has always been so proud and untamed. How did you manage it, Mother? At this point, the usually dignified and majestic Empress showed a rare hint of shyness on her face. Using force alone will only push people further away. A combination of strength and gentleness is the best approach, since Xiao Wang is a hostage from Jing, a country where men are revered and women are expected to be gentle and submissive. My son takes after his father, with striking good looks. Why not play along for a while? It's not too late to reveal your true nature after the deed is done. Without delay, that night, I had our Yuan and Xiaolu catch a full bag of fireflies. Today, we must succeed, not fail. We must, without fail, win over Xiao Wang. I was in high spirits, glanced at my reflection in the bronze mirror, and nodded with satisfaction. Not giving the exhausted Yuan a moment to catch her breath, I pulled her along and dashed toward the palace where Xiao Wang was. A moonless, windy night is the perfect time to flirt with a man. I look so beautiful tonight, I refuse to believe I can't win him over. Xiao Wang was drinking and admiring the moon in the courtyard. His jet-black hair was tied back with only a red silk ribbon. His dark robes were as somber as iron, yet his appearance was as striking as snow. The jade-white wine cup looked delicate and translucent in his slender fingers. He drained the cup in one gulp, his pale lips glistening with wine, reflecting the clear glow of the full moon. utterly bewitching. Even after 7 years of gazing at this face, it never grew tiresome. Instead, it only became more breathtaking. With all preparations in place, I ordered the door to be opened. Yuan released the fireflies at just the right moment. Xiao Luzi climbed onto the palace wall, scattering handfuls of peach blossom petals. In an instant, the garden was filled with twinkling starlight and a flurry of falling petals, a breathtakingly beautiful sight. Now it's this princess's turn to make an entrance. Taking a deep breath, I turned and stepped into Xiao Wang's palace, with light steps, my wide sleeves flowing like immortals. A soft veil covers my face, my eyes sparkling with emotion, like a butterfly fluttering into a shower of blossoms. It's impossible to look away. Not far away, Yuan gave me a thumbs up. Beneath the veil, I curled my lips into a smile, confident of success. Although the dance was hastily learned today and not yet familiar, judging by Xiao Wang's reaction, the effect must have been quite impressive. He stared at me intently, his narrow phoenix eyes glinting with a cold, unreadable light. Based on past experience, the fact that he was willing to stare at me was already a sign of respect. Besides, the scattered peach blossom petals had all been soaked in ylang-ylang flower juice. Once the fragrance filled the air, passion would ignite, and everything would fall into place naturally. Suppressing my inner excitement, I slowly approached Xiao Wang, intending to mimic the manner of Jing Kingdom women by leaning against him as if boneless. The next moment, he mercilessly avoided me, not even letting me touch a corner of his clothing. I fell to the ground with a thud, grimacing in pain. In an instant, the petals stopped falling, and the fireflies flew away. The thin veil fell, revealing a meticulously painted makeup. In his eyes, it was no different from withered tree bark, failing to stir the slightest ripple. Shui Baozhu, I would recognize you even if you turned to ashes. Xiao Wang's gaze fell upon that wisp of light gauze, his expression filled with sarcasm. Yuan and Xiao Luzi didn't dare to approach. I patted my bottom and stood up from the ground by myself. Taking the chance, I reached out and touched the person in front of me. The touch was soft, not hard. Xiao Wang's eyes shot out a cold glare, but I was completely unaware, too busy being overjoyed. Here, why aren't you wearing your iron shorts today? Have you come to your senses and are waiting for me? Just say it straight. I, the princess, won't be shy. Mother Emperor said that if she had been shy back then, my eldest sister, second sister, third sister, and I wouldn't exist. The thicker the skin, the better the meal. Xiao Wang suddenly moved closer, gripping the wrist I had just used to cop a feel, his gaze dangerous. Iron underpants are so boring. If the princess wants to try, why not try arsenic? I've already applied it, awaiting your presence at any time. Gaze lowered, I couldn't help but swallow my saliva. Sure. Driven by reckless courage, under astonished gazes, I mustered all my brute strength and shoved him onto the stone table. I casually snatched the red silk from his head. Xiao Wang knocked his waist, wincing in pain with a muffled groan. Her cascading black hair was truly a breathtaking sight. Shui Baozhu. The red ribbon that tied her hair became the tool of the crime, firmly binding his hands. Xiao Wang was restrained by me instead, unable to move, his cold eyes narrowing sharply, as if about to spit fire. Perhaps the ylang-ylang flower juice had taken effect. I only felt that the person beneath me was exceptionally tempting, and I wanted to taste. My mind went blank with impulse, and I immediately acted on it. I leaned down and covered his mouth, with the aroma of wine, cool, smooth, and soft, just a bit foul-mouthed. Shui Baozhu, let go of me if you dare. I'll tear your mouth apart. Xiao Wang was frantic with rage, his chest heaving, tears welling up in the corners of his eyes. It was rare for him to lose his composure like this. Back when he first entered the Xia Kingdom's palace and was bullied by the palace servants, he hadn't shed a single tear. To think I could bully you like this, so satisfying. I chuckled and stroked his face. The feel is really nice. You're lying. You couldn't even bring yourself to bite me earlier, so how could you tear my mouth apart? Xiao Wang, don't be shy about admitting you like me. The princess, after a moment's thought, I added, if you're really too embarrassed to say it, then I'll say it for you. I like you, Xiao Wang. I don't even know why I like you. Maybe it's because he's just so perfectly my type. Hearing the word like The person beneath me froze. A moment later, the overflowing tone unconsciously took on a hint of mockery and sorrow. Shui Baozhu, do you even know what love is? You're just infatuated with this shell of mine. If I were to be disfigured from now on, you wouldn't even spare me a glance. After listening, I looked at him seriously, carefully examining his face. Every feature was exquisitely crafted, like a masterpiece from Nua's hands. I did like his face, but not entirely. I also like his hands, his legs, his figure. I love every strand of hair from head to toe. After a moment's thought, I asked a completely irrelevant question. Am I strong? Xiao Wang sneered coldly. The Empress of Xia is renowned for her innate divine strength. As her daughter, you naturally possess brute force as well. Am I beautiful? What are you trying to say? I gave a faint smile and rolled off of him. Then, considerately, I untied his hands. Xiao Wang straightened his collar, looking uncertain. Shui Baozhu, are you having a fit? Not at all, it's just that I like you too much, and I'm afraid of hurting you, so I have to let go. After all, I'm very strong. If I were truly determined to force you, Xiao Wang, I could have someone remove the iron shorts, and even if you took poison, I could tie you up and wash it away. If I only cared about your appearance, I would have done exactly that, but I don't want to. Perhaps it was an illusion, but under the moonlight. Xiao Wang's long eyelashes trembled slightly as he gazed at the red string in his hand. The frost in his eyes seemed to have melted a bit. Hair. As expected of the Princess of Xia Kingdom, you can just casually say you like someone. Before he could finish, I suddenly leaned in, stood on tiptoe, and gave a loud moor on his cheek. Then I quickly pulled back, not giving him a chance to catch me. Xiao Wang stood frozen in place, and I, like a man who had just taken advantage of a charming widow, couldn't stop the grin on my face. Pushing a Yuan and Xiao Lu along, I walked while looking back. Not only say it out loud, but also put it into action. I really, really like you so much. Xiao Wang failed again. Second sister gently fanned herself with a folding fan, smiling faintly. I whimpered a couple of times, ran over to grab her sleeve, and begged her to give me a few more tips. Shui Xiaowu closed her fan and clicked her tongue lightly. As the esteemed fourth princess of Xia, you could have any man you desire. I'll go and capture him for you. No, I spread my arms to block her, shaking my head like a rattledrum. Why, I can't bear to. Second sister looked at me as if she'd seen a ghost. You never held back when we used to fight as kids, but now you can't bear to lay a hand on a man. Well, aren't you the same? You haven't added anyone new to your household since marrying brother-in-law, and you have the nerve to criticize me. Who was it that said they wanted to taste all the beauties under heaven? Miles per hour, glancing at my brother-in-law not far away. My second sister coughed twice and quickly covered my mouth. Why bring up such old, stale matters? I'll help you. All right, your brother-in-law's birthday banquet is the day after tomorrow. I'll send an invitation to Xiao Wang. He wouldn't dare not come. Seize the opportunity when the time comes. At the birthday banquet, Xiao Wang was present, accompanied by his maid Yuying, who had followed him from the kingdom of Jing. The two behaved intimately, unlike an ordinary master and servant. Yuying picked up food and brought it to his lips, and only then did Xiao Wang reluctantly take a bite. After taking a bite, she did not forget to take a handkerchief from her bosom and tenderly wipe his mouth. You're not a 3-year-old child anymore. Can't you wipe yourself? I am willing to serve your highness for a lifetime. Yuying glanced at me secretly, her face blushing with shyness. Yo, can eating a meal really lead to a lifetime of connection? If I didn't know better, I'd think there was something going on between them behind the scenes. I stared intently at the two of them, not willing to look away for a moment, twisting my handkerchief so hard it could have sparked. Yuan took the handkerchief, crumpled beyond recognition, and turned to whisper a few words to Xiao Luzi. Soon after, Yuying was forcibly pulled away. Men and women should not touch when giving and receiving. Let this servant do it. Xiao Luzi switched to serving dishes for Xiao Wang. Finally, it was a relief. Xiao Wang shot a sharp glare. I cheerfully accepted it all. Oh dear, this servant deserves death. Please forgive me, Lord Xiao. Xiao Lu's hand trembled, accidentally spilling the food onto Xiao Wang. He immediately knelt on the ground to beg for mercy. The second brother-in-law saw this and immediately had someone take Xiao Wang to change clothes. I also pretended to be unable to handle alcohol and quietly followed behind. The prepared clothes were different from the black ones he usually favored, dressed in white. His figure was as slender as bamboo, elegant and noble like an orchid or jade tree, like snow among pine trees. The moon reflected in water, it only enhanced her peerless beauty. By the time she changed her clothes and came out, the guide had already disappeared. The vast princess's mansion was a place she had only visited once. Relying on memory to find her way back was no easy task. Xiao Wang frowned at the crisscrossing paths ahead. Before him lay identical cobblestone paths, indistinguishable from one another, and he couldn't tell them apart. His emotions gradually growing unstable, his breathing quickened slightly, and beneath the icy depths of his eyes, a restless agitation seemed on the verge of breaking through. Xiao Wang was directionally challenged. Fortunately, after years of careful observation, I had discovered this little-known flaw of his. While secretly rejoicing, I saw the timing was ripe. I put down the kitten in my arms. The suddenly darting cat quickly caught his attention. The moment he saw the cat, Xiao Wang visibly breathed a sigh of relief, as if grasping a sliver of light. Step by step drawing closer, I crouched among the flowers, luring with dried fish, watching helplessly as that person followed the cat, step by step approaching. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it might fly out. Finally, the long boots came to a steady halt right before my eyes. I quickly stood up and tossed the dried fish to the cat. I shouted out the words I had been preparing for so long. Xiao Wang, happy birthday. I didn't even have time to see his reaction. As a result, too excited, I accidentally stepped on a smooth stone. My foot slipped, and I fell straight backward. I thought I was going to fall flat on my back. The next moment, someone firmly caught me. The arm around my waist was slender yet strong. In a moment of inspiration, I held on to him tightly, unwilling to let go, and rubbed my face against him vigorously. Woo-woo, I almost fell. I was so scared, but luckily you were here. Is that fragile enough now? Can't bear to push me away, can you? Opening my eyes, I couldn't help but look up excitedly, yet I saw him staring behind me, lost in thought. Above his delicate jawline, his thin lips were tightly pressed. His breath slightly held. Seeing this, I cleared my throat and introduced each item on the small stone table one by one. This is the chestnut cake you said you liked before. I sent someone to Jingwa to check, but the shop had already closed, so I tried making it myself. And this bowl of longevity noodles. I made it too. After saying that, I pointed to the other dishes on the table. This one, and this one. I specially hired a chef from Jingwa to make them. They should suit your taste better than Xiaogua cuisine. Xiao Wang, happy birthday. I giggled and hid my hands in my sleeves, but the next moment, he pulled them out. Seeing the burn on my hand, Xiao Wang's expression darkened. A princess of your stature, why would you go into the kitchen? Of course, it's for you. Unable to pull my hand back, I blinked, feeling it was only natural. Since I like you, what's wrong with cooking for you? If I could, I'd even pluck the stars and the moon from the sky for you. Smooth talker. Xiao Wang looked slightly uncomfortable, but I didn't feel awkward at all. I just wanted to tell him all my heartfelt words. Even if you refuse to tell me your birthday, I, the princess, can still figure it out. Everyone else is celebrating my second brother-in-law's birthday, but my eyes only see you. You're just too beautiful. I could never get tired of looking at you in a lifetime. Xiao Wang's ears turned slightly red, though his face remained cold, yet his body was honest. As he took the initiative to sit by the small stone table, he extended his slender hand, picked up a strand of longevity noodles, and tasted it. Then he picked up a piece of chestnut cake. I watched him eagerly, my eyes full of anticipation. How is it? Is it the flavor you like? Xiao Wang remained silent, and after taking a few bites, his expression grew increasingly strange. It tasted pretty good when it was freshly made, so why this reaction? Puzzled, I picked up a piece of chestnut cake to taste it. Don't eat it. Xiao Wang wanted to stop it, but it was already too late. A whole piece of chestnut cake was swallowed by me in one gulp. The taste, there's no difference at all. It's just that, for some reason, the more I eat, the hotter I feel. I was dazed and confused, tugging at my own collar. Shui bao zhu, shui, bao zhu. Xiao Wang shook me, his tone urgent. I couldn't listen, my attention only on his lips moving up and down. He grinned. Look at you, you never call me by my formal name Muyu, only by my childhood name Baozhu, Xiao Wang. You just like this princess, don't deny it. I lifted his chin, exactly like a bully forcing himself upon a village girl. Do you like it or not? Speak. Not far away, beyond the stone door, the edge of a skirt flashed by. Xiao Wang's eyes darkened, gritting his teeth. He simply scooped me up into his arms. The world spun around me, through the fabric. I could hear the heartbeat so close it snapped me back to clarity for a moment. I suddenly felt a bit flustered. Should we go to the bed? Xiao Wang remained silent, his steps quickening. The arrow is on the string. I swallowed hard, inexplicably afraid, scared. Too late. Xiao Wang's breathing grew heavier, his face flushed, yet a cold smile curled at the corners of his lips. His arms tightened even more. Those few short words fell into her ears, like an enchanting melody. In her view was his fair, slender neck and the movement of his Adam's apple. Beneath her were his strong, powerful arms. Even through the embroidered clothing, one could feel the exaggerated texture of the muscles. Who would have thought that someone who looks so slender on the outside could be so well built underneath? The heat within the body instantly reached its peak, reason shattered, like a fish craving water. I reached up and wrapped my arms around his neck. My whole body felt feverish, and my voice softened to a tone I had never used before. With the sky as our blanket and the earth as our bed, it's not entirely out of the question. However, the anticipated intimate contact never came. No sooner had I spoken than I was suddenly lifted into the air. An endless chill instantly enveloped my entire body. Xiao Wang held me tightly and leaped into the lotus pond. My survival instinct made me struggle desperately, but he held me firmly in his grasp. Opening my eyes, I saw only his face so close to mine. My mouth was also covered, making it impossible to call for help. On the shore, there was a rustling sound, and voices could be heard speaking. Among them were officials who had come to the banquet today, as well as my second brother-in-law, all men. I couldn't breathe, my consciousness on the verge of collapse. Xiao Wang pried open my mouth and actively passed his breath to me. Closing my eyes, our breaths merged. The nimble tip of the tongue roams and ravages, conquering cities and seizing lands. Inch by inch, the voices on the shore faded away, and finally, there was peace. Xiao Wang brought me to the surface. Gasping for fresh air, I felt completely weak and could only cling to him. The sensation of being drenched felt distinctly different. Rubbing against an unknown spot, Xiao Wang let out a muffled groan, his expression growing darker. A bead of sweat slid down his striking brows and eyes, disappearing into his faintly visible chest. Fingertips cold, palms burning, the hand gripping mine refused to let go. Someone drugged me. It's a drug from Jingguo, extremely potent, though not fatal. Once it takes effect, it gives no chance to catch a breath. So many people came just now. If they had seen, it would have ruined you. The effects of the medicine faded, yet I grew bolder, wrapping my arms around his waist. He did not resist. Xiao Wang, you're worried about me? Yes. The cat on the shore finished the dried fish and came over to rub against me again. I followed suit, burying my face in his chest. The joy in my voice was unmistakable. Women of Xia are bold. Even if we were seen, at worst, I'd just be labeled as wanton and immoral by those old scholars. I don't care about that. But I do. Once again, I looked up at him. Xiao Wang gazed at me with a rare seriousness. The icy depths of his eyes were no longer cold, but stirred with a turbulent yet restrained surge. Women of Jing Kingdom value chastity above all. When I was young, there was a palace maid who took great care of me. We relied on each other day and night. But just before I was sent to the Xia Kingdom, she was violated by an old eunuch in the palace and, in her grief and anger, threw herself into a well and died. The day her body was discovered happened to be my birthday. I failed to protect her. Xiao Wang closed his eyes in pain. I raised my hand, wanting to smooth the furrow between his brows, unable to hold back my heartache. So you're punishing yourself by never celebrating your birthday again. Xiao Wang, it wasn't your fault. It was Jing Kingdom's fault. Women are of low status, and even in the palace, they are subject to bullying. If one day, Xiao Wang pressed his hand against my lips. The vulnerability from moments ago seemed like nothing more than a fleeting illusion. The pain in the eyes vanished into the lake's surface. In the narrow, phoenix-like eyes, the tide receded. For the first time, I could clearly see my reflection in them. Let's not talk about this anymore. Since it's my birthday today, I want to make a wish. The allure of a handsome man is captivating. My eyes were also fixed on him. I swallowed hard and nodded emphatically. Sure, sure. Xiao Wang lowered his head close to my ear. His slender fingers clasped my shoulders, trembling slightly. His voice was bewitching. Shui Baozhu, since you've decided to provoke me, then never regret it for a lifetime. After parting with Xiao Wang, I went to change clothes and informed second sister about the drugging incident, insisting that the real culprit must be caught. In the guest room, Xiao Wang stood alone. Water droplets still clung to his hair. Yet he was in no hurry to change out of his soaked robe, no rush to dry off. Such a perfect opportunity just now. Your Highness, why did you let it slip? How much longer must we keep the fourth princess hanging? Has your Highness forgotten the tragic state in which my sister died? You promised to return and avenge her. Yu Ying struggled to contain her emotions, yet her grief and indignation were still palpable. A long silence ensued. Xiao Wang glanced at her. That glance was chillingly cold and carried immense weight. You're being impatient. Yu Ying harbored resentment, unwillingly saying, the fourth princess already loves you so much. I can tell the difference between liking and loving. I don't need you to remind me. Just a little more, Xiao Wang murmured. It was said to her, and also to himself. Soon, the empress was a military general by background. After the unification, the Xia kingdom established the tradition of the spring hunt. In times of peace, this was the only way to reminisce about the glorious past. After the birthday banquet, I felt that my relationship with Xiao Wang had grown much closer, so I specifically requested the Empress Mother to allow me to bring him along. My usually forthright eldest sister teased directly. Has fourth sister succeeded? Even iron pants can be stripped off. I admit defeat, eldest sister. Seeing my embarrassment, the Empress Mother smiled faintly to ease the tension. Chaofeng. Send someone to inform the Crown Prince's residence that he is permitted to accompany the fourth princess on this year's spring hunt. Understood. My third sister, who was helping review memorials nearby, was then consulted by the Empress Mother after she finished speaking. Xishuang, in previous years you've always excused yourself to stay in the palace and read. Will it be the same this year? Third sister looked up from the pile of memorials, her eyes twinkling mischievously. Little sister is about to have a joyous occasion. How could I, as your elder sister, miss it? Upon hearing this, the Empress Mother clapped her hands in delight, repeating the word good 3 times. This year is finally going to be lively. Since your father passed away, there have been few moments that brought me such joy. 3 days later, Nanhazi, I insisted on sharing a horse with Xiao Wang. Behind the scenes, a few of the accompanying civil officials whispered among themselves, muttering phrases like how improper. I paid no attention to their words. I extended my little finger and gently scratched Xiao Wang's palm. It made his body stiffen slightly. After succeeding, she couldn't help but chuckle to herself, leaning back against the beauty's chest, feeling utterly content. Second sister has turned the entire mansion upside down but still couldn't find the person who drugged us last time. I wonder who was so cunning, able to slip away right under everyone's noses. But don't worry, such a thing will never happen again, unless I'm craving your body and take the initiative to drug you. Turning back, I winked at him. Xiao Wang sighed helplessly, the tips of his ears slightly red. Shui Baozhu, next time you speak, could you not be so direct? But I missed the point and protested. That's not fair. Xiao Wang, you always call me by my nickname, yet you never tell me what your own nickname is. Tell me now, or I'll kiss you right here in front of everyone this instant. Xiao Wang conceded, his thin lips parting slightly as he slowly uttered 2 words. Zigue, I gave it to myself. Is it the cuckoo's Zigue? It's the Zigue from the child wishes to return. After hearing this, I cupped his face with both hands. From those dazed and bewildered pupils, I saw my own radiant and unrestrained reflection, under the spring sun, in a vibrant red martial attire. My dark hair danced wildly in the wind, with bright eyes and gleaming teeth, my smiling eyes curved like crescent moons. All right, Little Zigue, once we enter the hunting grounds, make sure to stick close to me, don't get lost. The royal hunting grounds span 10,000 acres. The 4 princesses split into 4 separate paths, competing to see who could hunt the most game. The outstanding one may request the fulfillment of a wish from the Empress Mother. Since I brought Xiao Wang, for the sake of fairness, my 3 elder sisters also brought their respective consorts. However, for some reason, Yu Ying also followed along. Seeing her despondent, Xiao Wang offered to bring her along. Just consider it as having an extra person to attend to you, of course. I wasn't willing, but then it occurred to me that this maid had been with him for so many years. There must be some affection between them, and now that I've finally grown closer to Xiao Wang, I shouldn't appear too petty, so I reluctantly agreed, but I wasn't about to back down either. Yuan, you come along too. Having one more person to attend to us wouldn't hurt. Yu Ying glanced at me unintentionally, then quickly lowered her head. It had rained a few days ago, making the mountain path slippery. Xiao Wang was already directionally challenged, and the path underfoot was treacherous. I reached out my hand for him to hold. The warmth from the palm brought a sense of comfort. Along the way, Xiao Wang remained silent, while I chatted non-stop. It's been a year since I last came, and the trees have grown quite a bit. Be careful walking. There might be snakes up there that could dart out and bite you. At this point, I couldn't help but point at a section of the tree trunk and laugh. Back then, second sister got bitten right on the face by a snake and started wailing like a ghost howling and a wolf crying over her beautiful face. What if it scars? How will she ever charm handsome men in the future? Later, no scar was left, and she took in quite a few male favorites. Who would have thought that after marrying her second brother-in-law, she actually turned over a new leaf and settled down, never adding another new person to her household? It's quite strange. Xiao Wang said nothing. He suddenly stopped walking, his grip on my hand tightening abruptly. Behind me, a Yuan and Yu Ying were forced to stop as well, not understanding what was happening. What's wrong? I turned to look at him and saw his eyes fixed intently on a certain spot, his expression more tense than I had ever seen before. Following his gaze, I looked over, and my heart instantly leaped into my throat. Seeing this, Xiao Wang immediately covered my mouth. Don't make a sound. In the grass not far away, a flash of yellow flickered in and out of sight. Its body was massive and robust, with fierce eyes and a white forehead. A single glance was enough to chill one to the bone. Our Yuan was already terrified, her face ashen, not daring to move a muscle. Yet it was the seemingly delicate Yu Ying who dared to speak at this moment. I am willing to offer myself to the tiger, so that your highness and the princess may escape unscathed. The woman's delicate voice carried a distinct sob. Even though she deliberately lowered her voice, some noise still escaped, causing the figure in the grass to prick up its ears and grow even more alert. I glared at her, telling her to shut up quickly. Yu Ying fell silent. I felt both fear and excitement in my heart. I exchanged a glance with Xiao Wang. He finally removed his hand from my mouth, with the obstruction gone. I focused my mind and spirit, concentrating intently, even slowing my breathing, taking the longbow from behind, drawing the bow and narking the arrow, all in one fluid motion. There was only one thought in my mind. The top performer of the spring hunt could make a wish to the Empress Mother. This was my primary goal for this journey. If I can successfully hunt this great beast, I will surely secure the top spot. At that moment, before releasing the arrow, I take one last look at Xiao Wang. His tall, slender body leans forward slightly, adopting a protective stance, always ready, at the moment danger strikes, to shield with my own body. Then I too must offer an equal measure of sincerity in return, with my strength. As long as the shot is accurate, even if it doesn't kill in one strike, it can still render the vicious tiger incapable of fighting. If successful, I will petition the Empress for her decree. In this life, I will not take a consort nor keep male favorites. Only Xiao Wang is enough for me. The arrow is on the string, ready to be released at a touch. Draw the bow to a full moon. At the critical moment, Moon Shadow suddenly had a fit and screamed loudly, "Your Highness, be careful." The cry was both sudden and piercingly sharp. Disturbed in my thoughts, my arrow went astray, only hitting the tiger's forelimb. The beast was enraged, turned toward the sound, and quickly spotted us. "What the hell are you screaming for?" The fierce tiger, which had been several yards away just moments before, pounced and charged forward, closing in on us in the blink of an eye. At the critical moment, Yuan reacted swiftly. Climbing up a tree, once temporarily safe, she immediately launched a signal flare. There is hope for rescue. But how do we survive right now? Our Yuan clung to the tree, wailing loudly. "If anything happens to you, princess, I won't live either. At worst, let the tiger eat one more person if it bursts. It'll still count as revenge." I really want to scold her, but the current situation doesn't allow me to be distracted. I don't know how to climb trees, and neither does Yueying. Xiao Wang firmly refuses to leave us behind. The three of us ran wildly, with the fierce tiger chasing closely behind, its eyes gleaming with ferocity. Fortunately, although that arrow wasn't fatal, it greatly slowed it down. It wouldn't be caught immediately, but running away endlessly isn't a long-term solution. Human endurance can't compare to that of a wild beast. Even though the signal flare has been sent, it will take time for rescue to arrive. If I don't come up with a plan soon, once my strength is exhausted, I'll really be done for today. Running while thinking, the small branches cut wounds on the body. Yet it went unnoticed. A sudden inspiration flashed through the mind. "Got it. We'll split into 3 groups. The beast can only chase one of us. Better than all dying together, at the brink of life and death. Every decision must be swift and resolute." As soon as the words were spoken, Xiao Wang and Yu Ying ran off in separate directions. 3 people, heading in 3 different directions. The beast didn't hesitate at all, choosing one of them. Perhaps it was because my red clothing was too conspicuous, making me the sole target in its eyes. The sound of rushing wind and the tiger's roar echoed in my ears, and a Yuan's heart-wrenching cries from above. "Princess!" The heartbeat in the chest was clearer than ever before. Blood was hotter than sweat. At the brink of exhaustion, pain, itch, and unwillingness seeped from the very marrow of the bones. If I were to die just like this, then wouldn't my life, Xuemuyu's life, be a joke? A strong will to survive kept my feet moving without a moment's pause. Every step I took increased my chance of survival. There is always a way out. The beast was, after all, injured in the leg. If he could hold on a little longer and widen the distance, he might just turn the situation around. But who would have thought? At the end of the mountain path, the cliff dropped off steeply into the air. The pebbles fell without an echo, into a bottomless abyss. My mind went blank in an instant. The ferocious beast behind me was closing in step by step, still refusing to give up. I was driven to a dead end, utterly cornered. If I were to die, my mother, the Empress, would be burying her own child, and her silver strands would surely multiply with grief. Yuan and Xiao Lu must be crying their eyes out, with no one left to look out for them. And Xiao Wang, would he grieve if I died? Years from now, would he remember me like he remembers his palace-maid sister? Remember me, Xuebaozhu. At the moment when my will was collapsing, a voice came through the forest, like the break of dawn, illuminating all rivers, or like a sudden, torrential downpour, giving a fish in a dried-up rut a new lease on life. Xiao Wang lunged at me before the danger even arrived. The fierce tiger pounced but missed, only catching a corner of my clothing. He leaped down as well, tearing off that piece of clothing. He used the tiger as a cushion. With a forceful twist, he embraced me, placing his own body beneath. My blood froze in an instant, falling rapidly. The world transformed, and from then on, my eyes could only hold him. "Xiao Zigui, why did you follow? Wouldn't it be better to save yourself? You said it. Following you, I won't get lost." The sleeves fluttered loudly in the air, drowning out the sound of wind, rain, and heartbeat. Xiao Wang held me tightly, knowing it was a life-or-death situation. Yet his voice was more relaxed than ever before. "Xuebaozhu, when you fell from the tree as a child and landed on me, that was our first meeting. If today is our last meeting, then let me protect you one last time." In the same way, beneath the cliff, the vegetation was lush. After the fresh rain in the empty mountains, the ground was soft and damp, and the white water rushed swiftly. It wasn't necessarily a death sentence. I mustered all my strength to reach out, cupping the back of his head with my palm, under his astonished gaze. I planted a sincere kiss. Her eyes were clear and bright. They held only him, and him alone. "Xiao Zigui, listen carefully. If we both make it back alive today, I won't give you any more chances to refuse. I was awakened by the sound of crying. Before my eyes was a magnificent palace. A Yuan and Xiao Luzi were attending to me, both with dark circles under their eyes. I tried to move my fingers, only to find them wrapped in thick white bandages. Seeing me awake, a Yuan wiped away her tears. Both shocked and overjoyed. Princess, you've been unconscious for 3 whole days. I was so worried. Are you hungry or thirsty? Would you like something to eat or drink? My throat was so hoarse that I signaled with my eyes, and a Yuan brought me a cup of water. Xiao Luzi, on the other hand, rushed off without delay to summon the imperial physician to examine me. After drinking the water, I could finally speak. The first sentence, however, was not about myself. Instead, I blurted out, "How is Xiao Wang?" A Yuan tugged at the corner of her mouth, tears welling up again. "Your Highness, you should worry about yourself first." The imperial physician said, "Your hand might never." No matter, when I made the decision, I was fully aware of the consequences. Using a pair of hands in exchange for a chance to save Xiao Wang's life is worth it. A Yuan sighed and had no choice but to say, "Young Master Xiao is more severely injured and hasn't woken up yet." Hey, princess. You can't get out of bed yet." I paid no heed and limped my way toward the palace where Xiao Wang was. A Yuan was terrified and, seeing that she couldn't stop me, quickly ordered someone to carry me over. The moment I saw Xiao Wang, I couldn't help but tear up. His eyes were tightly shut, his face as pale as paper, with white bandages wrapped around him in multiple places, looking utterly lifeless. If it weren't for the slight rise and fall of his chest, he would hardly seem alive. Pushing aside the helping hands of others, I stumbled toward him, struggling to get closer. I strained to hear the murmurs at his lips. Don't leave me." My hand, wrapped up like a rice dumpling, couldn't interlock fingers with his, so I cupped his hands in mine and pressed them against my face. With reverence and sincerity, I felt the warmth of his skin. I told him, "I'm here, Xiao Zigui, I am here." Xiao Wang was unconscious for a total of 7 days. For the remaining 4 days, even though my own injuries hadn't healed, I still stayed by his side without rest. Even the Empress Mother couldn't bear to watch any longer. "Muyu, are you so certain about him?" Without hesitation, I nodded in affirmation. "Just like you and Father back in the day, when Father was alive. Mother Emperor and he were deeply devoted to each other, with him being the only one in the harem. After Father passed away, Mother has been guarding the kingdom alone, year after year. I, Muyu, have only ever had Xiao Wang in this life. I want him to see me first when he wakes up. For the rest of our lives, I will be with him day and night." On the 7th day, Xiao Wang finally woke up. By then, the white bandages had been removed from my hands, revealing the scars all over them. Though I still had all my strength, these hands could no longer draw a bow or grip a sword. I fed him water. Xiao Wang looked down at the ripples trembling on the surface of the cup. His eyes darkening again and again, he drained the cup in one gulp. His parched lips moistened, yet his furrowed brow remained tense. The emotions swirling in his eyes were obscure and hard to decipher. "Does it hurt?" I grinned foolishly. "It hurts. But it's worth it. Though these hands can no longer pluck stars or the moon for you, they can protect your life. That's worth it too." Xiao Wang's Adam's apple bobbed, and he hesitated several times, unable to speak. He had several fractures and numerous external injuries from being scratched by branches. Fortunately, he didn't injure his head, which is why he survived. Yet, as if he couldn't feel the pain, he struggled to prop himself up. Holding my hand, he gently blew on it. Someone once told me that blowing on a wound makes it feel much better. My eyes curved into crescents as I smiled and told him there was an even better way. If you're willing to give it a kiss, the wound might just heal right away. Just as second sister walked in, she happened to hear those words. Look at this little fourth sister, she can come up with sweet talk so effortlessly. Not at all. Second sister is the one with a natural talent in this area, truly admirable. She couldn't be bothered to argue, her right index finger hooked onto her second brother-in-law's belt, every gesture exuding charm. She was the spitting image of a street ruffian, making the person beside her appear even more noble and ethereal. Was she right? The second brother-in-law gave a helpless smile. A faint blush crossing his gentle expression, the Empress couldn't bear to watch and ordered someone to fetch the tiger skin. Mu Yu and Xiao Wang jointly hunted a 600-pound tiger, making them unquestionably the champions of the spring hunt. What reward does my son desire? Taking the tiger skin, I straightened my expression and knelt on both knees. My words were sincere, audible to everyone present with perfect clarity. I wish to beg for a lifelong union with Xiao Wang. Throughout my life, I will take no other husband, and we shall grow old together. The Empress did not give her direct consent but instead posed a question. Xiao Wang is a hostage from Jingguo. Men in Jingguo have always taken multiple wives and concubines. Can he truly commit to staying with you as you described? I fear your sincere heart may be poured into a river that flows nowhere. Mu Yu. Before I could say anything, Xiao Wang staggered to his feet and fell to his knees with a thud. The wounds on his body split open again, seeping more blood. He was completely unfazed, his lean body tensed with pain, trembling along with his smooth jawline, yet the words he spoke were resounding. Each word carried immense weight. I, Xiao Wang, am willing to renounce my Jing Kingdom citizenship for the fourth princess. I beg your majesty to grant this request. My wedding with Xiao Wang is scheduled for 3 months later. Once his injuries have healed, the first thing I will do is take him to tour the princess's residence. That is the home where we will spend the rest of our lives together. He paid no attention to the intricately carved beams and painted pillars, but instead paused before an ordinary swing. The swing bore marks and scratches from many years of use. This was made for me by my late father with his own hands. The dark silhouette exudes desolation, and I can't help but go up and wrap my arms around his. Want to swing? I'll push you. Xiao Wang forced a stiff smile, hiding the longing and loneliness in his eyes, and denied, No, I was just thinking, you must have had a very happy childhood. I just feel happy. As if not hearing the bitterness in his words, I chuckled and took out a butterfly-patterned jade pendant from my person, waving it before his eyes. Xiao Wang looked at the jade pendant, his breath catching for a moment, and I went on, saying, What's a swing compared to this? This jade pendant was given to me by my father on his deathbed. It is actually a tiger tally commanding 300,000 troops, which can be activated by a drop of his bloodline, when we have a child in the future. I will pass it on to our child as a protective talisman. How does that sound? By the time I looked at him, he had already put on a calm expression, the emotion in his eyes faded, and Xiao Wang's lips curved into a smile as brilliant as peach blossoms. I'll do as you say, then it's best to listen to me now. I crooked my finger, signaling for him to bend down. Xiao Wang closed his eyes and did as told. His eyelashes fluttered like butterfly wings, and then, I did not kiss him as he had imagined. Instead, I pushed him onto the swing. Take off. Her dark hair danced wildly, her features as exquisite as a painting. The love-starved child stared at me in a daze, speechless. His black robes fluttered in the wind. Was it the wind that stirred, or his heart that moved, as the swing came back? I leaned down and planted a resounding kiss. After succeeding, I told him with a loud laugh, Xiao Zigui, you came to Xia as a hostage at 12, and we first met when you were 13. I was 10 that year. From the age of 10, I have been looking forward to this day for a long time. If you have never been loved before, then I will love you. If there is something you want to do but haven't been able to, then I will accompany you. In front of Shui Baozhu, never feel embarrassed. The wedding day is not far off, and I have shut myself in the palace to practice my embroidery. I want to embroider my wedding dress with my own hands. Unfortunately, my hands are injured. I can no longer wield a bow or a sword, nor can I even hold a tiny embroidery needle steadily. I often prick my hands until they are covered in blood. Seeing this, Yuying quickly stepped forward to wipe the blood clean for me. A Yuan was so distressed that tears fell straight from her eyes. What are you doing here getting in the way? If it weren't for young Master Xiao pleading for you, you really ought to be thrown into the mountains to feed the tigers. Yuying offered no defense, silently putting away the blood-stained handkerchief. If it weren't for your panicked scream, how could the princess's hand have ended up like this? I stopped her in time before she could continue. Yuying is skilled at embroidery, and Zigui asked her to teach me how to embroider the wedding dress. Yuan, please don't cause any trouble. Although Yuan was displeased, she didn't say anything more. I focused on the work in my hands, not noticing that the people in the room had changed. When I pricked my finger again, the first to rush over was no longer Yueying, but it was Xiao Wang. Without a word, he grabbed my hand and put my bleeding finger into his mouth, his eyes fixed on me intently as his nimble tongue soothed the pain. Be careful, Xiao Wang rarely takes the initiative like this. The situation was so sudden that my face quickly heated up, and I stammered, it doesn't really hurt, but it hurts me to see you like this. He looked at the needle marks on my hand. His handsome brows slightly furrowed, a mist of pity clouding the corners of his eyes. Baozhu, I will be returning to Jing Kingdom tomorrow. I nodded silently. Xiao Wang had promised to renounce his Jing Kingdom citizenship. So naturally, he had to make a trip back before the wedding. Alright, Xiao Zigui, back then, you wore iron shorts to guard against me, but now you can't bear to be apart for just a few days. I had intended to lighten the sorrow of parting with a joke, but I never expected him to admit it outright. Understood. I can't bear it. The wedding dress and needlework in my hands fell to the ground, the world spun around, and he swept me up into his arms. The temperature in the room suddenly rose. And through the fabric, I could feel his reaction. My mind went blank for a moment, and I instinctively grabbed the front of his robe. This is so sudden. Actually, it's not long until the wedding. Xiao Wang carried me to the bed. The delicate features were cast with a faint, elusive blush by the bed curtains. The collar was crumpled, revealing a strong collarbone and chest. Without a word, he pressed closer, leaning over. Amidst the mingling breaths, I silently allowed his impulse. In each other's eyes, they saw the most captivating version of one another. The butterfly jade pendant fell from the bed, unable to spread its wings, and spun in circles on the floor with a soft clatter. Wave after wave crashed. In the depths of passion, his expression was a mix of pleasure and pain, fingers intertwined, holding on to me tightly, still trembling with fear. Baozhu, I'm scared. Scared of what? I was afraid you would leave. I extended my clasped hands to show him. No. Haven't you already caught me in your hands? Xiao Wang chuckled softly, his advances growing even more intense. Beneath the gaze lies an unfathomable whirlpool, and I am a small boat, adrift and tossed. Leaning in, gently biting my ear, whispering close, yes, we've already caught it, so I will never let go. In the late spring of the 16th year of Shining, Xiao Wang returned to Jing Kingdom after nearly 8 years of absence. The maid Yueying returned with him. Early summer of the 16th year of Shining, the usually lively and active fourth princess shut herself in the palace, embroidering her wedding dress for a full month. At last, it began to take shape, with only the finishing touches left. With needle pricks on my hands, old ones layered with new, I breathed a long sigh of relief. The final touches will wait until Xiao Wang returns. The timing is just perfect. The wedding dress blazes red like fire, mirroring the fervor in my heart, day and night. I long for the sight of that figure appearing beyond the city walls, longing for his smiling eyes to return with the moonlight. No news came of Xiao Wang Guixia's return. Instead, a battle report arrived. Report: the hostage Gui Jing has become the new crown prince, leading a surprise attack with 100,000 troops. The border has fallen. Extremely urgent. Your Majesty, please dispatch troops for support immediately. A sudden clap of thunder on a calm day. A fierce wind and torrential rain. I can't hear the shouts in my ears. I stumbled and ran toward the place where Xiao Wang once lived. Pushing open the door, the palace was still the same palace. Every brick and stone, every table and stool, seemed just as before. It's just that the memories are all fake. The person who once lived here was also fake. Xiao Wang, why did you lie to me? You lied to me for 7 years, deceived my feelings, and made me foolishly wait for you to come back and marry me. But the news of war was what came instead. The empty hall offered no response, a silent mockery, and it was bitterly cold, as if a venomous snake were hissing behind, flicking its tongue. Turn around, and without mercy, raise the butcher's knife. Kill the one who once fed you. Rumors say the new crown prince, having endured hardships in the Xia kingdom for many years, finally found the chance to return to Jing. The first thing upon returning to the country was to avenge the 8 years of humiliation as a hostage. From hostage to crown prince, how remarkably patient and capable. How heartless and ungrateful. So, he acted so convincingly. The heartfelt confession by the lotus pond, the desperate leap at the cliff's edge. Time and again, I gazed into those unfathomable eyes, yet I never realized that I was, in fact, part of his shame. Wherever Xiao Wang led the Jing army, they burned, killed, and plundered, leaving behind a trail of misery and suffering, with the people living in destitution, like a hot knife through butter, as if aided by divine power. First, the incident was sudden, and Xia's military forces and supplies could not be immediately assembled at the border. Second, Xiao Wang had lived in Xia for nearly 8 years and had unknowingly grasped everything, just waiting for an opportunity to return and achieve merit. In just 1 month, Jing's iron cavalry captured 10 cities in a row, conquering all they attacked, their elite troops seemingly inexhaustible. When I took out the tiger tally left by my father, dripped my own blood on it, and yet it showed no reaction. The butterfly slipped from my fingertips, shattering into pieces as it hit the ground, never to fly again. The hypocrisy buried for years was finally laid bare. It turns out that even the intimacy of that day was a calculated move. He knew that with Yueying, an outsider, present, I would choose to keep the jade pendant on me at all times. He also knew that I loved him and would not be on guard against him. So a moment of passion was enough for him to achieve his goal, swap the jade pendant for a counterfeit to serve as his bargaining chip for returning to Jing Kingdom as the crown prince. No wonder Yueying is always so eager to wipe away the blood. Only when the father's blood drips in will the butterfly flutter its wings, ready to take flight. The 300,000 troops recognize the token, not the person. The protective charm left by my father has actually become the sharp sword that Xiao Wang thrusts into the Xia kingdom. The sudden rain had just ceased, soaked to the bone. I personally destroyed everything from the memories, until the former hostage palace no longer resembled its original form. Then, overwhelmed by fury, I suddenly coughed up a mouthful of fresh blood. The sound of Yuan's sorrowful weeping filled my ears. She used her sleeve to wipe the blood from the corner of my mouth, her eyes full of heartache, her whole body trembling, swallowing the lingering taste of blood in my mouth. I asked her to fetch the wedding dress, the one I had painstakingly embroidered for a month. I couldn't wait any longer and asked for the scissors. I snatched it away. My hands were unsteady, so I used my teeth, tearing it into pieces. Xiao Luzi brought a brazier with tears in his eyes. The flames devoured that glaring red, billowing thick black smoke. A dull pain in my lower abdomen, nauseated to the point of vomiting, but my mind couldn't help but recall the ridiculous scene from back then. Xiao Zigui, why did the king of Jingwa name you Wang? The meaning doesn't seem very favorable. My mother was of low status. The character Wang signifies that the throne is nothing but a delusional fantasy for me. What the sun wishes to return, what delusional fantasy? It's all fake, it's all a lie. He feigned resistance, he pretended to welcome. From beginning to end, it was all insincere, all just to catch me off guard. Wholeheartedly becoming stepping stones on his ambitious path, cities fell one after another, and the political situation was unstable. Court officials protested by resigning from their posts. How can a woman be fit for such a great responsibility? If we do not appoint a strong leader soon, the great Xia will perish. The fourth princess invited the wolf into the house. She should atone with her death. Atone with death. The palace gates were tightly shut, blocking out the cries demanding my execution, but they couldn't block out the scent of blood in the air. The hall was empty. My sisters were still comforting me. The eldest and second sisters donned their armor, ready to lead the troops themselves to reclaim the lost territory. Baozhu, don't listen to the nonsense of these pedantic scholars. It's not your fault. It's Xiao Wang's fault. Elder sister patted my head just like when I was a child. I held back my sobs, not daring to look up at her, and only repeated, "Take me with you. Please take me with you. I will go to the battlefield and kill the enemy. I will kill him. Kill him." A sigh echoed through the desolate palace. You can't even hold a sword. How will you go to battle? And how will you kill Xiao Wang? Staggering in panic. Yes, I forgot. My hands were already crippled because of him. At that time, Xiao Wang saw how much I longed for our wedding. When I pricked my hands full of wounds while embroidering the wedding dress, he must have been overjoyed inside. Third sister will oversee the state affairs. Fourth sister, you stay and take good care of Mother Empress. Even without the 300,000 troops left by my father, it's not a hopeless battle. A daughter of the Shui family will never just wait for death. Wait for me and my eldest sister to vent our anger. At the moment of parting, I stood on the city tower, supporting my mother, the Empress, watching my eldest and second sisters ride away on their horses. The battle flag fluttered, with the army behind kicking up clouds of dust, amid the swirling yellow sand. The Empress couldn't stop coughing, her eyes welling up with tears. The lingering ailments from her early campaigns had left her body weakened, no longer able to lead the charge against the enemy. She hated being unable to help and worried that something might happen to her eldest and second sisters. My heart is always uneasy. After all, the Xia kingdom has lost 300,000 troops, all used by Xiao Wang. Undoubtedly, this will be an extremely difficult battle. I helped the Empress mother back to the palace and personally took care of her daily needs. The situation on the front lines is intense. Third sister is buried in a pile of memorials, too busy to even straighten her back. Not only must she deal with external threats, but she also has to quell internal unrest. Due to recent events, opposition to women holding power has spread throughout the court and the country. Even so, both she and the Empress firmly told me, Mu Yu, this is not your fault. Nor is it the fault of being a woman, but rather a sin caused by a heartless and faithless person. The midsummer of the 16th year of Xinning, under my care, the Empress mother's condition has stabilized. The eldest and second sisters have been away from the capital for over a month. Given the disparity in military strength, it is already extremely difficult to hold back the Jing army from advancing. Under such circumstances, successfully reclaiming a city can only be considered good news. I also thought that things were at least moving in a positive direction, but unexpectedly, one day, a soldier delivering messages from the border, clutching a piece of blood-stained armor, stumbled back to the capital. With his first words, the world seemed to shatter. There is a traitor in the army. The second son-in-law has defected on the battlefield, the eldest princess's body is lost, and the second princess is missing. Our army has suffered countless casualties. The border has fallen one after another. The Jing army is unstoppable. Dark clouds loom over the city. On the palace walls, crows circled in loops, flying low in the air. The aged Empress on the sickbed, upon seeing the blood-stained armor, took it with trembling hands to confirm. The result was that her anger flared up, and the illness that had barely stabilized came back with a vengeance. After violently coughing up several mouthfuls of blood, she lost consciousness, opening my eyes again. I was already on the verge of death, holding that piece of armor. I simply couldn't comprehend it. Just a month ago, the one wearing it was still a living, breathing person, my eldest sister, Shui Chaofeng, who inherited our mother's martial prowess and decisiveness, was exceptionally skilled in battle. How could it be, with not even a trace of her remains left? Yet that armor is indeed hers, a piece seized from the rebels, no less. She just vanished like a gust of wind, disappearing from this world. My second sister, once said she would taste all the handsome men in the world. It was she who was so charming and dashing. Later, she met a true love, settled down, only to be betrayed and then disappeared without a trace. That was also her. Father and Mother Emperor both said that Twilight Rain and Morning Mist were the two most alike among the four sisters. Indeed, and equally unworthy. By the time Mother Emperor had her final rally, the army of Jing Kingdom was already approaching the capital. She handed the imperial jade seal to her third sister, instructing that the funeral arrangements be kept simple. The third princess, Shui Shishwang, hastily ascended the throne as the nation crumbled. Before her death, our Mother Emperor took one last look at us. Her eyes were filled with pain, reluctance, and unwillingness. From now on, it will be just the two of you sisters relying on each other. You must take care of one another, live on, and live well. After speaking, her vision grew dim as she stared blankly at the ceiling of the palace, in the void, revealing a rare mix of shyness and delight. You've come, I've grown much older, haven't I? Xiaofeng, you're here too, wait for me, let's go together. Not sure what she saw, but what lingered on her face in the end was a faint smile. The third sister personally closed the Empress Mother's eyes, and then the envoys from Jing Kingdom arrived with songs and dances. full of joy and celebration. It's truly unfortunate to have witnessed the Empress's passing. My condolences to the 2 remaining princesses. I wiped away my tears and pointed my sword at them. My hand had been left with a chronic injury, causing the blade to tremble violently, yet I refused to lower it. Where is Xiao Wang? Let him come here himself. If we can meet again in this lifetime, even if it means mutual destruction, I will make him pay with his blood, and grind his bones to dust. 4th Princess, you jest. How can the ruler of a nation easily travel as an envoy to another country, to seize the throne by killing one's own father and brothers, trampling over millions of lives? Does such a ruler even deserve to be called the sovereign of a nation? The envoy grew impatient. Unwilling to argue with me, I did not come here today to quarrel with you. Instead, I am here under the orders of the new ruler of Jing, to present a choice to the kingdom of Xia. If the 4th princess is sent for a marriage alliance, it can turn conflict into peace. Although Jing Kingdom will not return the occupied territories, they will immediately withdraw their troops, allowing Xia Kingdom to secure its borders and recuperate in peace. If refused, then we will breach the imperial city. At that point, taking her as a captive will achieve the same result. Clutching my lower abdomen, sweat dripping from my forehead, I slowly moved closer. The long tip of the sword scraped a glaring mark on the ground. The envoy grinned cheekily, boldly baring his neck. If you kill the messenger, it will be taken as a direct refusal. I am not afraid to die, but the 4th princess must consider carefully, which is more important. Your own life or the land and people of the Xia Kingdom. The tip of the sword paused. Behind me came the call of my 3rd sister, Baozhu. With a clang, the silver-white longsword fell to the ground, and I stood alone in the fading sunlight. Outside the hall, the sun was setting in the west, its lingering rays casting a long, slender shadow. Taking one last look at the sunset of Xia Kingdom, I turned around. The envoy from Jing Kingdom was still waiting for an answer. Then I shall give an answer. Write a letter, inform Xiao Wang, I will marry. If I hadn't been so naive, if I hadn't been deceived by Xiao Wang, the kingdom that my father and mother worked so hard to build would not have fallen to its current state. Innocence comes at a price, but this price is far too heavy to bear. If sacrificing me alone can bring peace to the world, and atone for my sins, then there is nothing to hesitate about. The envoy urges, the new ruler is eager to see me, there is no time to delay. I have no time to attend the funeral of the Empress and my eldest sister. If I delay any longer, I fear complications may arise. Ayuan cried and insisted on going with me. I had my 3rd sister lock her up, not to be released until the bridal procession enters the territory of Jing Kingdom. Before departure, the female envoy sent by the Kingdom of Jing searched my body repeatedly. Only after ensuring there were no items like poison or hidden weapons did she allow my 3rd sister to place the wedding veil over my head. 3rd sister clutched the red cloth tightly, her eyes reddening and her knuckles turning white. She, who had always been so refined and courteous, rarely showed her emotions so openly. That's right, for the Xia Kingdom, sending a princess to marry for political alliance was nothing short of a profound humiliation. She couldn't bear to see me suffer such disgrace. But when the building is about to collapse, everyone is caught in the tide of fate. 4th sister, you're the only family I have left. I smiled at her, trying my best to put on a bright and cheerful appearance. My nose couldn't help but feel sore. In the end, we looked at each other in silence, saying nothing. The bridal veil fell, hiding 2 streams of clear tears. The carriage left the palace, swaying and jolting all the way. Someone behind broke through the barriers. Screaming princess with a heart-wrenching cry, just a moment too late, perhaps missing the last glimpse in this lifetime. On both sides of the path, resentful men and angry women hurled rotten fruits and vegetables, cursing with flying spittle. It was her who caused so many deaths. Send her to Jingwa, and never let her return. Better she be tortured to death, to appease the countless souls of the departed. The piercing sound of swanas and funeral music mixed together. Shaking the skies above the capital, the wedding procession collided with the Empress Mother's coffin and the eldest sister's empty casket. They passed by each other, heading in opposite directions. Paper money, white as snow, fell in flurries. 2 coffins were to be buried in the imperial mausoleum. while a bridal carriage was destined for a new grave. 3 days later, in the capital city of Pingcheng, the wedding procession sped on horseback, finally arriving just before sunset. In the evening glow, a small bridal sedan chair was welcomed into the palace through a side gate. It was at this moment that I finally realized, less than a month after leaving Xia Kingdom, Xiao Wang married the crown princess of Jing Kingdom. After ascending the throne, she became his empress. All the daughters of the ministers who helped him rise to power were granted various ranks of consorts. I too am a consort, that tiger skin once won with my life and the vow to stay together for a lifetime. All turned to ashes along with the wedding dress I embroidered with my own hands. At night, Xiao Wang, reeking of alcohol, pushed open the tightly shut palace door, staggering towards me, filled with hope. Baozhu, Baozhu. His breath was unsteady, anxious and restless. Yet he couldn't wait to reach out and lift the bridal veil. Seeing my face, a surge of longing burst forth, and he couldn't help but embrace me, with a force so strong it felt as if he wanted to melt into my very bones. Finally. This day has come. You are completely mine at last. Baozhu, I've missed you so much. I gave a cold smile, suppressing my disgust, and resolutely pulled out the golden hairpin from my hair. I miss you so much too, Xiao Wang. I wish you would die soon, to pay with your life for the Empress Mother, the eldest princess, and the countless innocent people of Xia Kingdom. With all her strength, the hairpin pierced into his back. The sound of torn clothing and flesh being pierced echoed dully in her ears. Xiao Wang pushed me away in disbelief, his steps unsteady. It wasn't until he saw the hatred on my face that a flicker of pain surfaced in his eyes. He defended himself weakly. Xue Chaofeng's death was an accident. She could have lived if she had just surrendered, but she stubbornly, Baozhu, please don't be angry. I've given you my heart, so please, don't hate me anymore, alright? I still prefer it when you call me Zigui. Xiao Wang forced a faint smile, a pool of blood spreading on the ground. The bright red wedding robes only made his pale complexion appear even more ashen, and I only said, it's a pity my hand was injured, so I couldn't stab you to death. Amid the shattering in his eyes, I continued, over 20 years ago, in Jing Kingdom, a lowly palace maid gave birth to a prince on the same day as the imperial consort. The maid bribed the midwife to switch her own child with the consort's son. A few years later, the truth came to light. Knowing she would surely die, she went all the way and killed the consort's own son, hoping her child would continue to be treated well in the future. Yet I never expected that the consort would become pregnant again, and her child was completely abandoned, bearing all the consequences she had caused, humiliated and trampled upon, despised and imprisoned. What a brilliant act of swapping the cuckoo's egg. What a fitting name, Xiao Wang. You truly gave yourself a fine courtesy name. I only hate that you weren't tortured to death back then in the Pingcheng Palace. Instead, you came to harm my country and my family. Tears have long dried up. I am like a puppet drained of its soul, having vented my last
scarred. Happy like a child, looking forward to the life ahead, but one thing was overlooked. My happiness had long been destroyed by his own hands. In the early autumn of the 16th year of Shining, no, it was the early autumn of the first year of Taikang in the Jing Kingdom, Xue Muyu is about to turn 18. To show his regard, Xiao Wang granted all civil and military officials a day off to celebrate together. He also held a palace banquet and personally presided over my birthday celebration. There has never been such a precedent in the harem before. 3,000 Kongming lanterns, each inscribed with blessings written by his own hand. Xiao Zigui and Xue Baozhu, may you have a house full of children and grandchildren, and live in harmony and mutual respect. Hold your hand, and grow old together with you. May you be forever happy. The brilliant lights cast upon his face, adding a touch of childlike innocence. Lately, since I've accepted him, Xiao Wang has been clinging to me even more. We are almost inseparable, eating and living together. The gloom of the past few days has completely vanished. The meritorious officials were quite resentful because he neglected their daughters. In the past, he would have dealt with such matters. But now he simply didn't care at all, an open and blatant favoritism. Since I have the ability to protect you, I must let the whole world know that I love you. Baozhu, I love you, so very much. Like a child who has found a rare treasure, his gaze toward me was pure for the first time, free of any calculation, only a heart offered with both hands, just like how I once was. I pursed my lips and smiled back at him. Xiao Wang was overjoyed and promised in front of everyone to fulfill one of my wishes. He could pluck the stars and the moon, or bestow gold and treasures. Whatever I wanted, he would give. I knelt gracefully and spoke my wish aloud. Your Majesty, please grant Yuing a proper status. Take her into the harem and confer upon her the title of consort. The music ceased abruptly, like spilt water that cannot be gathered back. Xiao Wang couldn't believe it. Is this your wish? Understood. I stood my ground, until the light in his eyes gradually faded. I have neglected everyone for you. Yet you ask me to bring new people into the harem. Shui Baozhu. You really? I interrupted him, my voice frank and clear. Yuing has accompanied you for many years and truly admires you. The sincere person deserves a proper status. His Majesty said he would definitely fulfill my wish. You won't lie to me again, right? A long silence. Only the sound of breathing from those present could be heard. When he looked at me again, those phoenix eyes had once more become inscrutable. His thin lips parted slightly as he sneered coldly. Since that's the case, then as you wish, immediately, confer upon Yuing the title of consort. I must share a night of spring breeze with her at once, so as not to the kindness of the fourth princess. My forehead touched the ground. I performed a standard kowtow. No one could see my expression. Shuemuyu. I humbly thank your Majesty for your grace. The banquet was cleared away. Yuing was carried away by Xiao Wang. The dark robe left without a moment's hesitation. Just where he couldn't see, the person in his arms gave me a look. Deal made. I understood immediately. Tonight is my one and only chance. Running all the way, the sound of my heartbeat was especially clear in the night. I passed through the loosely guarded palace gate. I finally saw my second sister. She was trapped in a secluded mansion, her hair styled in the traditional married woman's bun of Jing Kingdom. He had become much thinner. Upon seeing me, he was very surprised. Fourth princess, what are you doing here? Run. If Chen Qing sees you, you won't be able to escape. There was no time to explain. I fed her the antidote for the muscle-relaxing drug, handing over the dagger and jade pendant she had been carrying in her embrace to her. Before being discovered, she spoke a few final words to her. Second sister, both the eldest sister and the Empress Mother are gone. This is all I can do. You must escape, use the troops father left behind, and avenge all those who have died. She seemed to guess something, gripping my hand tightly and refusing to let go. What about you? There was a fierce knocking at the door. It was my second brother-in-law. I immediately shut my mouth and quickly hid under the bed. The door wasn't opened for a long time, and eventually, it was kicked open. Luckily, I was quick enough and wasn't discovered. Seeing that second sister was safe, Chen Qing returned to his gentle and refined demeanor. Madam, did you happen to see anyone just now? Second sister remained silent, but he wasn't annoyed. He stepped forward and gently embraced her, resting his chin on her shoulder. He took a deep breath, his expression full of tenderness. It's still better in Jingwa, without those male favorites in your backyard. It makes me jealous to see. Second sister sneered and asked him, is that so? Since I married you, I have not taken anyone else. The previous consorts were merely kept in the residence to fulfill obligations. If you couldn't bear it, you could have spoken up. We could have parted ways amicably. Why resort to rebellion and harm so many lives? Chen Qing chuckled, completely indifferent to it all, still with that gentle appearance, yet the words spoken were chilling to the bone. That's different. I still love you and don't want to part with you. But as a man, how could I stoop to being beneath you? Jingwa is the better choice after all. After saying this, he spat blood, his eyes wide with rage, unable to utter another word. The second sister withdrew the dagger, without a hint of hesitation. All past illusions have vanished. Her voice grew even more resolute. I forgot to tell you, someone did come by just now. The King of Hell is calling the roll, and is sending you to the afterlife. Second sister wants to take me away. I endured the pain and pried her hand away, urging her to prioritize the bigger picture. If Xiao Wang can't find me, he will surely seal the city, and neither of us will be able to escape. Second sister, you go back first. I'll wait for you to come and save me. Return to the palace. The palace was eerily quiet, showing no signs of a banquet having just taken place. As agreed, I helped Yuing become a consort, and she helped me stall Xiao Wang, so tonight, no one will disturb me. The candlestick fell, and the flames began to spread. I sat upright on the bed, gazing into the bronze mirror one last time, and saw my own face. The firelight soared to the sky, slightly distorting the features. Faintly visible were a pair of willow leaf eyebrows. They were drawn for me this morning by Xiao Wang himself. After applying makeup, she whispers to her husband, "Are my eyebrows drawn in the latest fashion?" That was the life he had imagined. it was also the life I once hoped for. Clutching her slightly aching lower abdomen, let the surroundings be set ablaze, I was in agony, yet felt utterly exhilarated, completely and thoroughly satisfying. The words Moon Shadow had spoken that day echoed in my ears. You help me become a consort, and I will help you see Xue Xiaowu one last time. Even let her go, only after it's done. I ask the fourth princess to die. Zigue has you in his heart. If you are here, he will never look at me properly. Good, she said she loved Xiao Wang. So while making the deal, she eliminated all factors that could allow me to harm him. However, she never expected that Xiao Wang would return the military token to me. On the day the Xia army enters Pingcheng, I wonder what kind of expression Yu Ying will have on her face. The last tear slid down the corner of my eye, only to evaporate quickly. In a daze, I saw my mother, the Empress, then my eldest sister, and finally my father. Father and mother leaned against each other, while my eldest sister pushed me on the swing, singing the nursery rhymes from childhood. Swing high, swing far, like a butterfly flying to the sky, like a butterfly flying to the sky. I hope so. I hope in the next life, the butterfly soaring high on wings will no longer meet the ambitious cuckoo. Extra chapter. Xiao Wang felt troubled in his heart, and Yu Ying took the chance to pour him many drinks, slept through the night, so that when the fire broke out in the palace, he didn't hear anyone's cries for help in time. By the time he woke up, the walls were in ruins, and devastation met the eye. That person is still inside. Xiao Wang rushed into the fire that had not yet been fully extinguished like a madman, without rest or sleep. He dug until his hands were mangled and almost cooked by the heat. Heaven rewards the diligent. At last, he unearthed a mutilated corpse. Only charcoal remained. No, this was not his precious pearl, his pearl. Fair and clean, how could it have become like this? Yet, where the skin remained, the exposed birthmark reminded him, this was his Baozhu. To punish him, Xue Baozhu, who died on the day she turned 18, before her death, she used her hands to protect her abdomen. I don't know if it was to make him recognize her, then, to tell him clearly that she was gone. After the imperial physician examined her, he advised him to restrain his grief. Fortunately, the abdomen was less damaged. I discovered that Her Highness was carrying an undeveloped fetus, about 1 or 2 months old. One body, 2 lives lost. Your Majesty, please restrain your grief. A mouthful of fresh blood suddenly gushed out. Xiao Wang fainted dead away. When he opened his eyes again, it was as if all his vitality and spirit had been drained from him. Drinking all day long, neglecting state affairs, what once was clung to now seems to have lost all its flavor, so much so that before long, Princess Xue Xiaowu of the Xia Kingdom, leading hundreds of thousands of elite troops, launched a fierce counterattack and quickly breached Pingcheng. Xiao Wang drank by himself, offering no resistance. The palace maids and consorts scattered and fled. Only Yu Ying refused to leave. He bestowed upon her a cup of poisoned wine. This cup of wine is to tell you that coveting someone who doesn't belong to you comes with a price. It was said to her, and also to himself, if only back then. When he returned to Jingguo, he had just followed through on his promise to renounce his citizenship, and then returned to Xiaoguo to peacefully become the consort. Is it possible to stay together forever? Enough, enough. People always tend to romanticize the paths they did not take. There are not so many what ifs in this world. Wrong is wrong. As soon as Yu Ying breathed her last, Xue Xiaowu led her troops into the grand hall. She snatched Xue Muyu's ashes and ordered Xiao Wang to be tied up outside the hall. The sky gradually darkened. It just so happened to be overcast again. That palace maid named a Yuan, her eyes bloodshot, sliced his flesh piece by piece with a dagger. How could my kind princess have met a beast like you? Pay with your life for my princess. Beside her, a familiar but less conspicuous young eunuch, also filled with hatred, assisted a Yuan, amidst the intense pain. Xiao Wang resisted the urge to burst into laughter. The blood on the long steps could not be washed away. In the drizzling evening rain, the cuckoo cries. In a daze, he saw that unloved child from many years ago, taking on the monarch's wrath in place of his birth mother, locked in a pitch-black room for a full 5 years, until he completely lost his sense of direction. Then there was someone who broke through the darkness, bringing him light and guiding his way. Xiao Zigue, just follow me closely. And you won't get lost. I really, really like you so much. You're just too beautiful. I want to pluck the stars and the moon from the sky and give them all to you. He was wrong. He regretted it. He lost the only person in the world who loved him. He extinguished his own light with his own hands. So, when he goes to hell, he must kneel before the 10 kings of hell and confess his sins. Bless his little princess. In the next life, May there be no worries and only happiness. May I never meet a heartless person like him again. The end.